Greetings everyone, my name is Gigi and this is Let's Build, wherein I build a LEGO set timed to different media and talk about the facts concerning the topic of the build. Today's build is the LEGO Batman Batcave Shadow Box versus Batman Returns from the SNES. The footage I am using for this game is for science, educational, and research purposes. My content is transformative and protected under fair use. All footage is time-lapse with commentary. There will be spoilers for Batman Returns. You have been warned. Specifications for the LEGO set. Adult enthusiasts can recreate the iconic Batcave from 1992's Batman Return movie with the LEGO DC Batman Batcave Shadow Box. This 3,981-piece tableau incorporates movable items, minifigures, and a feature-rich Batmobile to produce a detailed and dynamic display piece that will captivate all who see it. Batman drama in a display case. Measuring over 20 inches wide, this Batcave tableau contains an assortment of authentic details, including movable items that can be controlled from the rear. Users can turn the chair, change the computer screen, and open and close the tool store and illuminated Batsuit vault. For extra realism, a Batmobile with a variety of hands-on features includes, along with 7 minifigures, Max Shreck, the Penguin, Catwoman, 2 versions of Batman, Alfred Pennyworth, and Bruce Wayne. For added convenience, a digital version of the set's building instructions can be found on the LEGO Builder app. A Batman tableau. Adult enthusiasts can capture the drama and style of the Batcave from the 1992's Batman Returns movie with the LEGO DC Batman Batcave Shadow Box active display model. Authentic details. The scene includes a feature-rich Batmobile and 7 minifigures. Max Shreck, the Penguin, Catwoman, 2 versions of Batman, Alfred Pennyworth, and Bruce Wayne. Dynamic action. Movable items can be controlled from the rear of the shadow box, turn the chair, change the computer screens, and open and close the tool store and illuminated Batsuit vault. Realistic Batmobile. The roof opens for Batman minifigure with the fabric cape to enter. Turning the cog on the side causes 2 hidden shooters to appear. A flame element attaches to the exhaust. Gift for adults. Experienced model makers and superhero movie enthusiasts will find this rewarding build and display project provides pleasure for long after the construction work is over. A collectible curio. Measuring over 11 inches high, 20 inches wide, and 5.5 inches deep, this celebration of Batman style will add interest to any home or workplace. Use your mobile device. For added convenience, a digital version of the set's building instructions can be found on the LEGO Builder app, and rotate the model in 3D, save sets, track progress, and find inspiration for new builds. Relax and recharge. The range of LEGO sets for adults provides a rewarding build and display experience that lasts long after the construction work has been completed. The secrets of the Batcave. The Shadow Box, an elegant and versatile hybrid between a traditional picture frame and display case, is an endlessly creative medium for displaying your treasured mementos. It wraps your collectibles in a certain ambiance, and the depth effect elevates them to a unique work of art. It seemed only fitting that the first LEGO Shadow Box model envelopes the atmosphere and reveals the secrets of the Batcave. the legendary lair of a superhero who operates in the shadows to protect Gotham City. From concept to completion, creating any new LEGO set, big or small, requires a whole team of specialists working together across departments and functions to create the best building and play experience. Model design, graphic design, building instructions, and many more. Jesper C. Nielsen, LEGO DC Batman creative lead, had long had a concept idea for what he called a vertical Batcave for adult fans, an intricate diorama narrow enough to display on a shelf. Senior model designer Bjarke Madsen had worked on 4 previous LEGO Batman models and was asked to explore if and how this idea might be executed in a viable set. Finding inspiration. Bjarke found inspiration in the shadow box format and Batman Returns movie from '92. In Batman Returns, you see all of these amazing details and designs and functions in the Batcave. I had an idea that a shadow box could add a complementary artistic aspect to a LEGO version of it. Jasper loved the idea and suggested that the front cover could include a Batman logo cutout to fit a minifigure scale Batmobile, and that dictated the size of the model. Then I built the first prototype, including a platform for the Batmobile, workstations with computers, the vault for the Batsuit, the gadgets cabinet, etc., assembling the team of designer superheroes. Realizing just how big the model would be, Bjarke teamed up with fellow model designer Carter Luce Baldwin, who suggested a function to open the box to access the platforms. Together, the two designers built the second prototype, including the opening feature, and improved the details and functions of the interior and platforms. Carter designed the main entrance, amplified by the imposing Batman logo. Bjarke incorporated a light brick inside the vault to create added dramatic effect and a function to switch images on the computer screens. To emphasize this function, graphic designer Daniel Lundin created detailed stickers for the computer screens. Fine-tuning functions and characters. In the final stages of development, senior model designer Adam Grabowski joined the team to help optimize the model and fine-tune the Batmobile design to fit through the main entrance. Senior model coach Christian Barncob and building instruction specialist Connie Bark were brought in to consult on the overall building experience, while design master Adam Corbally and senior graphic designer Ashwin Vizar worked together to capture and recreate the main characters as LEGO minifigures. A vault of details. Of the 7 minifigures included in this set, 5 of them, Bruce Wayne, Alfred Pennyworth, Catwoman, the Penguin, and Max Shreck, are all new and exclusive to this set. The 2 Batman minifigures come with different cape and cowl designs, one with a soft cape that lets the minifigure fit inside the Batmobile and the vault, and the one with a hard shell cape for display on the platforms. Turn the yellow knobs on the back of your model to activate functions on the platforms and workstations. Store the flame element for the Batmobile in the secret hiding space. Turn on the light in the vault for a dramatic display of the Batsuit. Climb the staircase leading up to Wayne Manor. Find all the tools you need for fixing dents and damages sustained to the Batmobile, Batsuit, or gadgets during battles against villains. Release the drawbridge to enter the Batsuit vault. Don your cape and cowl and get ready to build. This is the Batcave as you've never seen it before. in a LEGO Shadow Box format we've never released before. We hope you'll have as much fun exploring all the details and building techniques as we did. On behalf of our entire team, happy building and have fun playing. Bjark Leek Madsen. Batman. A sophisticated hero of Gotham City, Batman has inspired fans, writers, and filmmakers for generations. A tormented, reclusive vigilante with a vulnerable heart, he does not seek fame or glory. Driven by tragedy, he feels called to shed light on the city's dark secrets, only to retreat into his own shadows. The Batmobile. You can't have the Batcave without the Batmobile. Twist the lever on the passenger side to reveal and fire hidden cannons. Open the cockpit to fit the Batman minifigure with the soft cape. Attach the flame element and watch it spin when you drive the car. The secret storage compartment. Even the exterior of the Batcave shadow box has secrets. Look for the secret storage compartment where you can hide the Batmobile flame element when it's not in use. Max Shreck. Max Shreck is a cutthroat business mogul with dubious morals and a supreme instinct for self-preservation. In his thirst for domination of Gotham City, he partners with Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, in a corrupt mayoral race, creating an unlikely nemesis in his timid assistant, Selina Kyle, in the process. Alfred Pennyworth. A dry-witted linchpin of the Wayne family and estate, Alfred harbors his own secret talents. Both butler to Wayne family and a lifelong caretaker of the orphaned Bruce Wayne, Alfred remained his loyal confidant when he began protecting Gotham City as Batman. He is the ideal co-conspirator in guarding the secrets of Bruce Wayne, treating injuries, and cooking gourmet meals into perfection. The Swivel Chair. From his swivel chair, Bruce Wayne can research the mysterious origin of the Penguin, seek Alfred's counsel on matters of importance, intercept live news feeds to expose his villains' scandalous plots, or, of course, enjoy a serving of Alfred's vichyssoise. Yes, it's supposed to be cold. Computer screens. It takes multiple computers to keep track of crimes, databases, and secrets in Gotham City. Change the contents on the 3 computer screens with a lever on the back of the model to reveal new information. Catwoman. Catwoman is not afraid to risk her 9 lives in pursuit of her own personal justice, and a good time in Gotham City. Having emerged from the brink of death at the hands of her boss, the unscrupulous Max Shreck, Selina Kyle's powerful, curious, fun-loving alter ego loves to play gritty kitty and bat games with heroes and villains alike. Opening the gate. Pull open the gate on the side of the model to let the Batmobile shoot into action, and quickly shut the gate with the push of a button to secure the entrance. Bruce Wayne. A life of upper echelons of Gotham City elite allows Bruce Wayne to carry out his covert missions from a closely guarded secret base. In the craggy caves beneath Wayne Manor, he develops intricate weapons, vehicles, and gadgets to protect himself and innocent civilians from treacherous villains. Drawbridge. Turn a yellow lever on the back of the shadow box to lower the drawbridge and reveal the Batman minifigure. Batarang storage. Batarang grappling hooks are locked safely in the gadget cabinet. Turn the lever on the back of the model to let the cabinet doors slide open or shut. Mind the bats. Bats have nested in the Batcave for ages. They usually mine themselves among the stalactites in the darkest corners of the cave ceiling. Be sure to return the courtesy. The Penguin. Oswald Cobblepot, though a waddling, comical outcast from the literal underworld of Gotham City, should not be underestimated. As he reinvents himself as the Penguin, he channels his nose for finding dirt into criminal empire fueled by a colony of deranged henchmen, blackmail, corruption, and weaponized umbrellas. How to open and close the shadow box. Pull the finger grooves on the lower left side of the shadow box, as seen from the front, to open the box, partially or fully, and expand the display. A legendary logo. The legendary silhouette logo is one of the most recognized and beloved superhero icons ever, simultaneously a cover and a window to the secret life and workings of Bruce Wayne and his caped crusader alter ego. It frames the model in a powerful mystery. Batman Returns is a 1992 American superhero film directed by Tim Burton and written by Daniel Waters. Based on the DC Comics character Batman, it is the sequel to Batman, the '89 film, and the second installment in the 1989 through 1997 Batman series of films. In this film, Batman comes into conflict with wealthy industrialist Max Shreck and malformed crime boss Oswald Cobblepot, or the Penguin, who seek power regardless of the cost to Gotham City. Their plans are complicated by Shreck's former secretary, Selina Kyle, who seeks revenge against him as Catwoman. The cast includes Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, Michael Gough, Pat Hingle, and Michael Murphy. Burton had no interest in making a sequel to Batman, believing that he was creatively restricted by the expectations of Warner Brothers. He agreed to return in exchange for creative control, including replacing original writer Sam Hamm with Daniel Waters and hiring many of his previous creative collaborators. Waters' script focused on characterization over an overarching plot, and Wesley Strick was hired to complete a uncredited rewrite which, among other elements, provided a master plan for the Penguin. Filming took place between September 1991 and February of '92 on a $50 to $80 million budget on sets and sound stages at Warner Brothers Studios and the Universal Studios lot in California. Special effects primarily involved practical applications and makeup, with some animatronics and computer-generated imagery. The film's marketing campaign was substantial, including brand collaborations and a variety of merchandise, aiming to repeat Batman's financial success. Released on June 19, 1992, Batman Returns broke several box office records and earned $266.8 million worldwide. However, it failed to replicate the success or longevity of the original Batman film at $411.6 million worldwide. This was blamed on the darker tone as well as violent and sexual elements, which alienated family audiences and led to a backlash against marketing partners for promoting the film to young children. Reviews were polarized about the film, but praised most of the main cast. After the relative failure of Batman Returns, Burton was replaced as director of the third film, Batman Forever, from '95, with Joel Schumacher to make the series in a more family-friendly direction. Keaton chose not to reprise his role, disagreeing with Schumacher's vision. Batman Forever and its sequel, Batman and Robin from '97, were financial successes but fared less well critically. Batman Returns has been reassessed as one of the best Batman films in the decade since its release, and its incarnations of Catwoman and Penguin are considered iconic. A comic book, Batman '89, which was released in 2021, continued the narrative of the original two Burton films, and Keaton reprised his version of Batman in The Flash from 2023. Plot: in Gotham City, two wealthy socialites, dismayed at the birth of their malformed and feral son Oswald, discard the infant in the sewers, where he is adopted by a family of penguins. 33 years later, during the Christmas season, wealthy industrialist Max Shreck is abducted by the Red Triangle Gang, a group of former circus workers connected to a child's disappearances across the country, and brought into their hideout in the Arctic exhibit at the derelict Gotham Zoo. Their leader, Oswald, now named the Penguin, blackmails Shreck with evidence of his corruption and murderous acts to compel his assistance in reintegrating Oswald into Gotham's elite. Shreck orchestrates a staged kidnapping of the mayor's infant child, allowing Oswald to rescue it and become a public hero. In exchange, Oswald requests access to the city's birth records, ostensibly to learn his true identity by researching Gotham's firstborn sons. Shreck attempts to murder his timid secretary, Selina Kyle, by pushing her out of a window after she accidentally uncovers his scheme to construct a power plant that would secretly drain and store Gotham's electricity. Selina survives, returns home, angrily crafts a costume, and adopts the name Catwoman. To Shreck's surprise, Selina returns to work with newfound confidence and assertiveness, immediately capturing the attention of the visiting billionaire Bruce Wayne. As his alter ego, the vigilante Batman, Wayne investigates Oswald, suspecting a connection to the Red Triangle Gang. To remove obstacles to his power plant, Shreck persuades Oswald to run for mayor and undermine the incumbent by unleashing Red Triangle on Gotham. Batman's attempts to stop the chaos lead to confrontation with Catwoman. Meanwhile, Selina and Wayne start dating, while Catwoman teams up with Oswald to tarnish Batman's reputation. During Gotham's Christmas tree lighting, Oswald and Catwoman kidnap Gotham's beauty queen, the Ice Princess, and lure Batman to a rooftop above the ceremony. Oswald pushes the Ice Princess to her death with a swarm of bats, framing Batman. When Catwoman objects to the murder and rebuffs Oswald's romantic advances, he attacks her, sending her crashing through a glass house. Batman escapes in the Batmobile, unaware that the Red Triangle Gang has sabotaged it, allowing Oswald to take it on a remote-controlled rampage. Before regaining control, Batman records Oswald's insulting tirade against Gotham's citizens and plays it during Oswald's mayoral rally, destroying his public image and forcing him to retreat to the Gotham Zoo. There, Oswald renounces his humanity, fully embracing his identity as the Penguin, and sets his plan in motion to abduct and kill Gotham's firstborn sons as revenge for his own abandonment. Selina attempts to kill Shreck at his charity ball, But Wayne intervenes, and they accidentally discover each other's secret identities. Penguin crashes the event, intending to kidnap Shrek's son, Chip, but Shreck offers himself instead. Batman disrupts the Red Triangle gang and halts the kidnappings, forcing the Penguin to unleash his missile-equipped Penguin army to destroy Gotham. However, Batman's butler, Alfred Pennyworth, overrides the control signal, redirecting the Penguins back to the Gotham Zoo. As the missiles obliterate the zoo, Batman unleashes a swarm of bats, causing the Penguin to fall into the contaminated waters of the Arctic exhibit. Catwoman arrives to confront Shreck, rejecting Batman's plea to abandon her quest for vengeance and leave with him. Shreck shoots her 4 times, but she remains unaffected, claiming that she has 2 of her 9 lives left. Catwoman electrocutes Shreck, causing a power surge that appears to kill both of them. However, Batman finds only Shreck's charred remains. The Penguin emerges one last time, but succumbs to his injuries before he can attack Batman. His penguins lay him to rest in the water. Sometime later, as Alfred drives Wayne home, he spots Selina's silhouette, but finds only a cat, which he takes with him. The bat signal shines above the city as Catwoman gazes up at it. Development. Following the success of Batman from 1989, which became the 5th highest-grossing film of its time, a sequel was considered inevitable. Warner Bros. Pictures was confident in its potential, with discussions about a follow-up beginning late '89 and plans to start filming in May of the next year. The studio wanted Robin Williams and Danny DeVito to play the Rogues, Riddler, and the Penguin, respectively, and had also invested $2 million in acquiring the Gotham City sets at Pinewood Studios in England, intending to use them for at least 2 more sequels. These sets were kept under 24-hour surveillance, as it was more cost-effective to maintain them than to build new ones. Despite pressure from Warner Bros. To finalize a script and begin production, director Tim Burton was hesitant about returning for a sequel. He called the idea dumbfounded, particularly before analyzing the performance of the first film. Burton was generally skeptical of sequels, believing that they were only worthwhile if they offered a chance to explore something new and different. Batman writer Sam Hamm's initial story idea expanded the character of the district attorney Harvey Dent, played in Batman by Billy D. Williams, and his descent into the supervillain Two-Face. Warner Brothers wanted the main villain to be the Penguin, however, whom Hamm believed the studio saw as Batman's most prominent enemy after the Joker. Catwoman was added because Burton and Hamm were interested in the character. Hamm's drafts continued directly from Batman, focusing on the relationship between Wayne and Vicky Vale and their engagement. The Penguin was written as an avian-themed criminal who used birds as weapons. Catwoman was more overtly sexualized, wore bondage gear, and nonchalantly murdered groups of men. The main narrative teamed Penguin and Catwoman to frame Batman for the murders of Gotham's wealthiest citizens in their pursuit of the secret treasure. Their quest leads them to Wayne Manor and reveals the Wayne's secret history. Among other things, Hamm originated the Christmas time setting and introduced Robin, Batman's sidekick, although his idea for assault rifle-wielding Santas was abandoned. Hamm ensured that Batman did not kill anyone and focused on protecting Gotham's homeless. The two drafts produced by Ham failed to renew Burton's interest, and Burton concentrated on directing Edward Scissorhands from 1990 and writing The Nightmare Before Christmas from 93 instead. Burton was confirmed to direct the sequel in January of 91, with filming scheduled to begin later that year for a 92 release date. He agreed to return in exchange for creative control on the sequel. Burton considered Batman the least favorite of his films, describing it as occasionally boring. According to Denis Dinovi, his longtime producer, only about 50% of Batman was Burton. The studio wanted Batman Returns to be more of a Tim Burton movie, a weirder movie, but also more hip and fun. Burton replaced key Batman crew with some of his former collaborators, including cinematographer Stefan Kapinski, production designer Bo Welch, creature effects supervisor Stan Winston, makeup artist V. Neal, and art directors Tom Duffield and Rick Henrich. Daniel Waters was hired to replace Ham because Burton wanted someone with no emotional attachment to Batman, and liked Waters' script for the dark comedy Heathers, which matched Burton's intended tone and creative direction. Burton reportedly disliked Batman producer John Peters, demoting him to executive producer of Batman Returns, and effectively barred him from the set. Warner Brothers was the production company and distributor, with production assistance from executive producer Peter Goobers and Peters' Polygram Pictures. Filming. Principal photography began on September 3, 1991. Burton wanted to film in the United States with American actors because he believed that Batman, which had been filmed in the United Kingdom, had suffered from a British subtext. The economics of filming Batman in the UK had also changed, making it more cost-effective to remain in the US. This meant abandoning the Pinewood Studios sets in favor of Burton's new design. Batman Returns was filmed entirely on up to 8 sound stages at Warner Brothers Studios, Burbank, California, including Stage 16, which housed the expansive Gotham Plaza set. An additional sound stage, Stage 12 at Universal Studios lot, was used for the Penguins Arctic exhibit layer. Some sets were kept very cold for the live Emperor, Black-footed, and King penguins. The birds were flown in on a refrigerated airplane for filming, and had a chilled waiting area containing a swimming pool stocked with half a ton of ice daily and fresh fish. DeVito said that he generally liked being on set, but disliked the cold conditions, and was the only person somewhat comfortable because his costumes heavy padding. To create the Penguin Army, the live penguins were supplanted with puppets, 40 Emperor Penguin suits worn by little people, and computer-generated imagery. PETA protested the use of real penguins, objecting to the birds being moved from their natural environment. Although the organization had reportedly said that the penguins were not mistreated during filming, it later complained that the birds did not get enough fresh drinking water, just a small chlorinated pool. PETA also objected to the penguins being fitted with appliances representing weapons and gadgets, which Warner Brothers Studios said that they were lightweight plastic. Burton said that he did not like using real animals because he had an affinity for them, and ensured that the penguins were treated with care. Walken described the filming as very collaborative. recalling that his suggestion to add a blueprint for Shreck's power plant resulted in a model being built within a few hours. The scene of Catwoman putting a live bird in her mouth was performed live, with no CGI enhancements. Pfeiffer said that, in retrospect, she would not have done the stunt as she had not considered the risks of injury or disease involved. For a scene in the sewers, monkey handlers positioned above and below managed the organ grinder monkey as it descended a set of stairs with a note for the Penguin. When it saw Danny DeVito in full costume and makeup, it leapt at his testicles. DeVito said, "That monkey looked at me, froze, and then leapt right at my balls. Thank God it was a heavily padded costume." A scene of Shreck's superstore exploding caused minor injuries to 4 stuntmen. Principal photography ended on February 20th, 1992, after 170 days. Post-production. Chris Lebenson edited Batman Returns' 126-minute theatrical cut. The final scene of Catwoman looking up at the bat signal was filmed during post-production, only 2 weeks before the film's release. Warner Brothers mandated the scene depicting that the character survived after test audiences responded positively to Pfeiffer's performance. Pfeiffer was unavailable to film the scene, and a stand-in was used. A scene of Penguin's gang destroying a store filled with Batman merchandise was removed from the film. Warner Brothers provided a final budget for Batman Returns of $55 million, although it has been reported or estimated as ranging from between $50 to $80 million. Music. Danny Elfman was initially reluctant to score Batman Returns because he was unhappy that his Batman score was supplemented with pop music by Prince. Elfman built on many of his Batman themes and said that he enjoyed working on the Penguin's themes the most because the character's sympathetic aspects, such as his abandonment and death. Recorded with a studio orchestra at the Sony Scoring Stage in Los Angeles, Elfman's score includes vocals, harps, bells, xylophones, flutes, pianos, and chimes. The song Face to Face, played during the costume ball scene, was co-written and performed by British rock band Susie and the Banshees. Burton and Elfman fell out during production due to the stress of finishing Batman Returns on time, but reconciled shortly afterwards. Design and effects. Batman's production designer, Anton Furst, was replaced by Bo Welch, who understood Burton's visual intentions after previous collaborations on Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands. Warner Brothers maintained a high level of security for Batman Returns, requiring the art department to keep their window blinds closed. Cast and crew had to wear ID badges with the film's working title, Dictel, a word coined by Welch and Burton meaning dictatorial. They were unhappy with the studio's ridiculous Gestapo measures. Welch designed the Batboat vehicle, a programmable batarang, and the Penguin's weaponized umbrellas. He added features to the Batmobile, such as detaching much of its exterior to fit through tighter spaces. This version was called the Bat Missile. Sets. The sets were redesigned in Welch's style, including the Batcave and Wayne Manor. They were spread across 7 sound stages on Warner Brothers' lot, the largest of which had 70-foot ceilings, and the largest set was owned by Universal Pictures. Batman Returns was filmed on sets, although some panoramic shots, such as the camera traveling from the base of Shreck's department store to the cat head-shaped office, were created with detailed miniatures. Welch found it difficult to create something new without deviating from First's award-winning work. The designs were intended to appear as a separate district of Gotham. If Batman took place on the east side, Batman Returns was set on the west side. Welch was influenced by German Expressionism, neo-fascist architecture, American Precisionism painters, and photos of the homeless living on the streets in affluent areas. He incorporated Burton's rough sketch of Catwoman, which had a very S&M kind of look, by adding chains and steel elements which would appear to hold together a city on the verge of collapse. The key element for Welch came early in design, when he realized that he wanted to manipulate spaces to convey specific emotions, emphasizing vertical buildings to convey a huge, overwhelmingly corrupt, decaying city filled with small people. The film is about this alienating, disparate world we live in. The wintertime setting took advantage of the contrast between black and white scene elements influenced by Citizen Kane and The Third Man. Welch's concept designs began by carving out building shapes from cardboard with images of fascist sculptures and Depression-era machine-age art. The resulting 1-by-4-foot tall rough model represented Gotham Plaza, described as a futuristic, oppressive, and demented caricature of Rockefeller Center. It was designed overbuilt, emphasizing the generic but oppressive heart of Gotham's corruption. Despite complaints from the film's financiers about its necessity, Burton insisted on the location with a detailed church overshadowed by plain surroundings. Designs attempted to create the illusion of space. The Wayne Manor set was partially built, consisting primarily of large staircase and fireplace, with a scale which implied that the rest of the structure was massive. Penguin's base was initially scheduled to be built in a standard 35-foot tall Warner Brothers soundstage, but Welch thought that it lacked majesty and did not create enough contrast between itself and the evil, filthy little bug of a man. A 50-foot tall Universal stage was acquired for the production, its raised ceilings making it seem more realistic and less like a set. Minor modifications were made to the set throughout the film to make it appear to be gradually deteriorating. The location featured a water tank filled with 500,000 U.S. gallons of water surrounding a faux ice island. Selina Kyle's apartment had a large steel beam running through its center to appear as if it had been built out of a steel girder, which Welch said made it depressing and iconic. The wood used to build the sets was donated to Habitat for Humanity to help build low-cost homes for the poor. Costumes and makeup. Bob Ringwood and Mary E. Vogt were the costume designers. They refined the Batsuit to create the illusion of mechanical parts built into the torso, intending Batman to resemble Darth Vader. 48 foam rubber Batsuits were made for Batman Returns. They had a mechanical system of bolts and spikes beneath the breastplate to secure the cowl and cape, because otherwise, if Keaton turned around quickly, the cape would stay where it was, due to its weight. Consumer Paul Barrett Brown said that the suit had a generous codpiece for support, and initially included a zippered fly to allow Keaton to use the restroom. The actor declined, however, because it could be seen by the camera from some angles. As with the Batman costume, Keaton could not turn his head. He compensated by making bolder, more powerful movements with his lower body. The Catwoman outfit was made from latex because it was designed to be black and sexy and tight and shiny. The material was chosen because of its association with erotic and sexual situations, reflecting the character's transition from a repressed secretary to an extroverted, erotic female. Padding was added because Pfeiffer was less physically endowed than Benning. This worked in Pfeiffer's advantage, however, since Barrett Brown said that if it was too tight, it would reveal the genital area so thoroughly that you would get an X certificate. Ringwood and Vogt thought that if the latex material tore, it would not be difficult to repair. 40 to 70 backup Catwoman suits were made by Western Costume, the Warner Brothers costume department, and Los Angeles-based clothing manufacturer Siren at the cost of $1,000 each. Other versions made for Pfeiffer from a cast of her body were so tight that she had to be covered in baby powder to wear them. Barrett Brown said that because of the material, it was possible to get into the suit when dry, but they could not reuse them, however, because of the sweat and body oils. Vin Burnham constructed Catwoman's headpiece and mask. Burton was influenced to add stitching by Calico Cats, but the stitching came apart. Ringwood and Vogt struggled with adding the stitching to the latex. They tried to sculpt stitching and glue it on, but did not like the look and went over the suit with liquid silicone while it was worn, which added a shine to everything. Pfeiffer said that the suit was like a second skin, but when worn for long periods it was uncomfortable. There was no way to use the restroom, and it would stick to her skin, occasionally causing a rash. She found the mask similarly confining, describing it as choking her or smashing her face, and would catch the claws on nearby objects. Stan Winston Studio created an over-the-top burlesque visual for the Penguin, without obscuring DeVito's face. Concept artist Mark McCreary drew a number of sketches for the look, from which Legacy Effects built noses on a life cast of DeVito's face. Winston was unhappy with the pointy nose shapes and began sculpting ideas with clay, influenced by his work on The Wiz, which involved a forehead and brow prosthetic appliance for large-beaked creatures. The final makeup included a T-shaped appliance which went over DeVito's nose, lip, and brow, as well as crooked teeth, whitened skin, and darkened circles under his eyes. Vanille applied the makeup, made by John Rosengrant and Shane Mahan. The several pounds of facial prosthetics, body padding, and prosthetic hands took 4.5 hours to apply to DeVito, but was reduced to 3 hours by the end of filming. An air bladder was added to the costume to help reduce its weight. DeVito helped create the Penguin's black saliva with makeup and effects teams, using a mild mouthwash and food coloring, which he squirted into his mouth before filming, and said that its taste was acceptable. Burton described DeVito as completely in character in costume, and that he scared everybody. While redubbing some of his dialogue, DeVito struggled to get into character without the makeup, and had it applied to improve his performance. Because of the secrecy surrounding his character's appearance before marketing, DeVito was not allowed to discuss it with others, including his family. A photo leaked to the press, and Warner Brothers employed a firm of private investigators in a failed attempt to track down the source. The Batcave is a subterranean location appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. It is the headquarters of the superhero Batman, whose secret identity is Bruce Wayne, and of his partners, consisting of caves beneath his personal residence, Wayne Manors. The Batcave appeared in the 1960s Batman television series, and in the films Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, The Dark Knight trilogy, and in the DC Extended Universe, as well as The Batman. Fictional history. The cave was discovered and used long before by Bruce Wayne's ancestors as a storehouse as well as a means of transporting escaped slaves during the Civil War era. In the 18th century, frontier hero Tomahawk once discovered a gargantuan bat belonging to Morgan Le Fay inside what can be assumed would become the Batcave. Wayne himself rediscovered the caves as a boy when he fell through a dilapidated well on his estate, but did not consider it as a potential base of operations until returning to Gotham to become the Batman. In addition to a base, the Batcave serves as a place of privacy and tranquility, much like Superman's Fortress of Solitude. In earlier versions of the story, Bruce Wayne discovered the cave as an adult. The origins of the Batcave in Detective Comics, number 205, Batman tells Robin he had no idea the cave existed when he purchased the house that they live in. He discovered the cave by accident when, while he was testing the floor of an old barn on the rear of the property, the floor gave way. This story also established that a frontiersman named Jeremy Coe used the cave as a headquarters 300 years earlier. Bruce Wayne discovering the cave as an adult remained the case at least through Who's Who number 2 in 1985. Upon his initial foray into crime fighting, Wayne used the caves as a sanctum and to store his then minimal equipment. As time went on, Wayne found the place ideal to create a stronghold for his war against crime, and has incorporated a plethora of equipment as well as expanding the cave for specific uses. Access. The cave is accessible in several ways. It can be reached through a secret door in Wayne Manor itself, which is almost always depicted as in the main study, often behind a grandfather clock which unlocks when the hands are set to the time that Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered, 10:48 p.m. In Batman from 1966, the cave entrance is behind a bookcase which is opened when Bruce Wayne activated a control switch hidden in a bust of William Shakespeare. An entrance under Bruce Wayne's chair in his office in Wayne Enterprises, as shown in Batman Forever, connects a mile-long tunnel that Bruce travels through in a high-speed personal transportation capsule. In Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, the cave is accessible through a secret door disguised as part of a large display case and is unlocked by pressing a sequence of keys on a nearby grand piano. Another secret entrance, covered by a waterfall, pond, hologram, or camouflage door, allows access to a service road for the Batmobile. Another alternate entrance is the dry well where Bruce originally discovered the Batcave, highlighted especially during the Nightfall comic book storyline. At one point, Dick Grayson and Tim Drake use the dry well to get into the cave, which they had been locked out of by Azrael during his time as Batman, and Bruce Wayne used it to infiltrate the cave and confront the insane Valley in the final battle between the two men for the title of Batman. Lured into the narrow tunnel, Valley was forced to remove the massive bat armor he had developed, thus allowing Wayne to force Valley to remit his claim to the title. The location of the cave is known not only to Batman, but to several of his allies. In addition to the so-called Batman family, members of the Justice League and original outsiders are aware of the cave's location. Design. The Batcave serves as Batman's secret headquarters and command center, where he monitors all crisis points in Gotham City as well as the rest of the world. The cave's centerpiece is a supercomputer whose specs are on par with any of those used by leading national security agencies. It permits global surveillance and also connects to a massive information network as well as storing vast amounts of information. A series of satellite link-ups allows easy access to Batman's information network anywhere around the globe. The systems are protected against unauthorized access, and any attempt to breach their security immediately sends an alert to Batman or Oracle. Despite the power of Batman's computers, the Justice League Watchtower is known to have more powerful computers, and Batman does occasionally use them if he feels his computers are not up to the task. On occasion, he also consults Oracle for assistance. Additionally, the cave features state-of-the-art facilities such as a crime lab, various specialized laboratories, mechanized workshops, personal gymnasium, parking, docking, and hangar space for his vehicles, as well as separate exits for each type, memorabilia of past campaigns, a vast library, a large bat colony, and a Justice League teleporter. It also has medical facilities as well as various areas used in training exercises for Batman and his allies. The cave houses Batman's vast array of specialized vehicles, foremost being the Batmobile in all its incarnations. Other vehicles within the complex include various motorcycles, air and watercraft such as the Batplane, a single-occupant supersonic jet, and the subway rocket. The cave is sometimes depicted as being powered by a nuclear reactor, but often most by a hydroelectric generator made possible by an underground river. Batman 1989. The cave is present in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman feature film. The cave is shown to house the Batmobile, which is parked on a turntable-like platform at the edge of a large chasm filled with pipes, overlooking somewhat like a sewer. The Batmobile enters the cave from a rock cliff door. A huge switch turns on the lights in the cave. There are also bats roaming around the cave. The cave also features the Bat computer, which is on a metal platform. There is also an office-like workstation, some unspecified machinery, and a large vault for Batman's costume. Appearance in Batman Returns. The cave is once again seen in Batman Returns, and Bruce gains access to it via a tube/elevator-like passage from Wayne Manor, the entrance to which is hidden in an Iron Maiden, and is activated by flipping a small switch hidden on a small replica of Wayne Manor in the bottom of a fish tank. Alfred also confirms in a throwaway remark that there is a staircase to the cave. The cave was huge and well lit and featured a forensics lab, computer, unspecified machines, a closet for costumes, the Batmobile, and its repair tools. Moving on to our game. Batman Returns is a 1993 beat-em-up video game developed and published by Konami for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It is based on the '92 film of the same name. Gameplay. The game is a left-to-right scrolling fighter beat-em-up, a genre that was featured heavily on the console at the time. The gameplay and graphics are very similar to Super Famicom port of Final Fight. The game takes the player through 7 scenes featured in the film. Each scene has a final boss fight that Batman must win in order to proceed to the next stage. Scene 1 takes place in Gotham's Plaza, where Batman fights numerous Red Triangle circus gangsters and saves Selina Kyle from the stun gun clown who took her hostage. In Scene 2, Batman fights the circus gang throughout Gotham City's streets, facing the tattooed strongman as the boss. Climbing the rooftops of Scene 3, Batman encounters Catwoman, who escapes to an abandoned building where Penguin's setting a trap for Batman, but he manages to take on Catwoman and the Penguin on Scene 4. Scene 5, Batman drives the Batmobile and uses a machine gun to destroy the Penguin's campaign van. Moving to Scene 6, Batman goes to the circus train and defeats Penguin's right-hand man, the organ grinder. Penguin escapes to the abandoned Arctic world scene in Scene 7, where Batman destroys his duck vehicle and ultimately gains the upper hand on Penguin once and for all. Meanwhile, Catwoman escapes and watches as Batman gets called for another adventure. Various members of the Red Triangle Circus Gang attack Batman throughout the game. Batman has a number of weapons and moves at his disposal, including the Batarang. Reception. Scary Larry of Game Pro gave the game a perfect score, singling out praise for the visuals, animations, score, and adjustable difficulty level. Super Gamer gave an overall score of 90%. They praised the soundtrack, graphics, and gameplay, and called it one of the finest scrolling beat-em-ups. In 2018, Complex placed the game 97th on their The Best Super Nintendo Games of All Time list. They praised the game being a good translation from the movie and described the game as a beat-em-up gem. Nintendo Power ranked Batman Returns the 8th best SNES game of 93. In 2023, Time Extension included the game on their top 25 best beat-em-ups of all time list. There was so much information about the Batman Returns film that I had a hard time deciding about what information to include here. Batman Returns The Batman Returns SNES game was not as difficult as the NES Batman game, and it plays more closely to the film. The game still holds up and looks pretty great after all this time. I remember seeing Batman Returns in theaters, and it is one of my top 3 favorite Batman films. Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman. If you noticed, the jeweler's hammer has returned as well. I'm only using this to tap the larger plates securely in place. Rest assured, there is no damage whatsoever being done to the Legos. Total build time, 10 hours, 49 minutes, 50 seconds. You could watch Batman Returns at 126 minutes, Batman Mask of the Phantasm at 78 minutes, Batman Forever at 122 minutes, Batman and Robin at 125 minutes, The Flash at 144 minutes, and 54 minutes of the LEGO Batman movie. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Remember to like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, all the things for the YouTubes. Thank you.